What's going on, guys? Welcome to another one of BlackIron's battles. Today we've got something a little bit different for you guys. I've been building a Beastmen army. I've been working on it. It's gotten pretty good, and so I wanted to show it to you guys, although I didn't have, it's an overwhelming build, so I don't have a lot of like really long games. So I'm gonna stitch together two good games that I got to show you guys kind of what we got going on here. So right off the bat, you'll see here I'm on ladder, and I am using the Beastmen. So right off the bat, you'll see we've got Malgor the Darker. Sorry, I'm so used to taking Morgar, I just wanted to say it automatically. So we've got Malgor the Dark Omen, and you can see here that he's got Devolve, he's got Viletide, and we're trying to get that Bestial Surge off as much as possible to get that 18% charge bonus, that 9% vigor. So he's in here, he's nice and cheap, and we don't have any supporting heroes. So that is the one weakness of the build, is that you can definitely get sniped out if if you're hanging Malgor out here on his own. I was able to win quite a few games in a row, but I did get sniped out at the end. That's how I ended up losing, and so that is one weakness. The main point of the build here is that we've got all of this units in the front line here. So you can see we've got Gore Herd with shields mixed in with Ungor Spearman Herd. We've got 3 groups of each, and they're going to make up this whole giant front line. So this is just a front line of chaff. All of these units will be able to take a charge. They'll be able to soak it up and really allow this second line, our heavy line of 4 Bestigor Herd. So they'll bring the armor piercing right up here through the middle, and they'll soak right through these units, which will continue to take up the, soak up the damage. And they'll get a counter charge in there, do huge amounts of damage, as well as having these 2 groups of Ungor Raiders here, just as a little bit. They're the only anti-air we have, but also they do some poke damage, and they really cause opponents to kind of try to spend a lot of effort to deal with them. So a lot of times you'll get units coming around the side here. They'll be trying to deal with this. This is such a cheap amount of, it's not a lot of resources. They're able to take some shots, but at the same time, if you can spend, get people to take their big expensive units and have them spend half the game trying to chase these Ungor Raiders down, that's fine by me. So the other major prong of this Beastman build is this mobile overwhelming force. So we do have 3 groups of Centaurs with great weapons, where even though they don't do the AoE attacks anymore, they just do armor piercing. When you mix them in here with 2 groups of Chaos Poison Warhounds, this is just a nasty, fast, mobile attack force. I mean, these guys are going to get in here. The Chaos Poison Warhounds, they don't have... Let's see, they are not large units. So these guys, you can see here, they're small entities, so they can break up, any charge lines or any held lines, brace, spears, stuff like that. These guys can get in there, do some major damage. They'll apply the poison effect and allow these Centaurs with great weapons to catch up and do some major work. Over here for my opponent, he's got a pretty typical, Skaven army. Over here on the flanks, 2 groups of gutter runners with poison, as well as 1 group of death runners to sunder that armor. Over here on this flank, unfortunately for him, he's got the same 1 group of death runners and 2 groups of gutter runners with poison. And those are supposed to be like hidden units. Unfortunately, against the Beastmen, a lot of the time they do have Vanguard, so it's something to watch out for. Here in the middle of the forest, you can see Tretch Craventail hiding himself, just like always. He's over here in the forest, and he does have standard die. He's got stay here, I'll get help to get that extra leadership, and he'll turn into stock. I mean, he's over here. He's going to be ready to do some good damage wherever he comes into play. Here as the main force, you can see the Skaven player does have a bunch of clan rats here. He's got some good chevrons in him, bringing their melee defense up to 29 and 30, respectively. But those guys, they'll be able to hold the line a little bit. Okay leadership with those chevrons. Over here on the flanks, 2 groups of clan rats with spears, and then in the middle, he does have the storm vermin, the big heavy rats you see here. 2 groups with halberds for their high defense and armor piercing anti-large, as well as 1 group with storm vermin with sword and shield. These guys are going to be just the killers. They're in there 44 defense, 36 attack, and they'll be able to cut me down to size. Here in the middle of the army, he does have the Warlock Engineer with the Warpstone armor to do that AoE damage effect all in it's a pretty good sized AoE effect you saw there. But I will make one suggestion. I don't know if this guy will ever see this video, but always make sure to bring 1 spell on your caster. It would probably only cost him 100 gold to bring Warp Lightning, and he could have been spamming it the whole game game, doing major damage. Maybe on these blobs of units. I mean, who knows? He could have overcasted to get best score herd or something. I mean, just always bring at least one spell if you have. I mean, if you've got a race like with Winds of Magic. Over here on the right flank, you can see that's where the battle's going to get started right away. We'll go ahead and just start it up. So you can see here, coming in, those Centaurs with great weapons are going to get a good charge right here through the forest. And even though they are going to be slowed, they're going to just do massive damage. These gutter runners with poison are almost down half health already. You can see there that the death runners are pretty much dead. And all of this flank is going to get collapsed and killed. The Chaos Poison Warhounds are going to get in there, apply the poison, do the damage, and the Centaurs with great weapons are going to finish it off. So this is the main thing. Let's go ahead and slow it down for just a second. This is the main thing about this army. It's mainly the whole point is to domino effect these guys. And so we have all of these units on one flank. We're able to overwhelm that flank, take those units out, route them off the field, and then we're able to just kind of skip into the next group of units and really just continue to overwhelm each successive group of units. Here in the main battle, you can see we're starting to move up and get engaged. So let's go ahead and get back to full speed. And you see here, all of these units over on this flank, although they're grouping up, they're out of position. They're not engaged in the battle yet. Whereas we finished off this flank and we're going to start moving on to the next battle. Here in the main, you can see here, we'll get that cinematic shot of those Beastmen charging right into the hordes of Skaven. You see all of these storm vermin coming down the hill in the back. We're not really able to get a good shot off with these Ungor Raiders just due to the fact that they're uphill, but we are a lot wider. So you can see here these Ungor Spearmen and these the Gor Herd are managing to get around the side flank, and they're going to do some good damage to these storm vermin when they wrap around and surround them. Here in the main battle, you can see the Devolve going down, which is going to hurt that Skaven leadership as well as do additional damage to them. Malagor the Dark Omen with Arcane Conduit up, and he's just going to be... I'm just trying to use my Winds of Magic to cast as much damaging spells as possible and really get some work done against those Skaven. Over here on the left flank, you can see here these Gutter Runners and Death Runners are starting to get engaged. You can see Tretch here coming to get involved, but we have plenty of units still ready to battle. So you can see they're finally engaged. We've got all of our mobile units coming down. You see the effect from that Warlock Engineer is just hitting all of these units, but I mean mostly in the front line we've actually cleared out the clan rats. Most of the clan rats are starting to rout. Here in the back, these Centaurs with great weapons are going to charge right in and they're going to destroy those Death Runners. Also the Chaos Poison Warhounds, both groups are going to get on this group of Gutter Runners over here, and all of these units are just going to go down completely. We've split up the Centaurs with great weapons. They'll cut the Gutter Runners to pieces, and here in the main battle, there is nothing here that is going to deal with all of these Bestigor herd. You see Devolves going down just round the clock, and even with the help from the Warlock Engineer there, the Bestigors are starting to cut through those Skaven units, and there is no elite infantry really on the Skaven team that's capable of keeping up really with the Bestigors. You've got to use monsters or something like that, artillery, who knows what, but definitely not what's going on here. You can see another Devolve going down. Sorry, that was a Vile Tide popping off, and then another Devolve. So we're just trying to do as much as we can to do damage across the board. Over here on the left flank, mostly our mobile units have routed off all of the Death Runners, Gutter Runners, and that has pretty much put us here. The balance of power is in our favor, and you see it's just a quick attack, overwhelm, smash down the front line. You can see here, even with the Warlock Engineer, the front line was able just to do massive amounts of damage. More and more vigor coming. The Centaurs themselves have perfect vigor, so it is just massive amount of fast vigor action, fast acting vigor action. I mean, we might as well call it vigor aggro, man. So we're coming in here, we're ready, and we've done some damage. You see there the last of the Chaos Warhounds coming in, just massive attacks, and that is going to be it. So you can see there, it only took a couple minutes to win the battle. And if we take a look at the post-game wrap-up, you can see here that 82 kills on Malagor the Dark Omen was really where it came down. I mean, that Devolve, those Vile Tides, they were actually doing really well. And since I didn't spend a lot of money, it allowed me to bring all of these other troops, which were really overwhelming. So those flanking units, obviously, Centaurs with great weapons, and the Chaos Poison Warhounds were the stars of the show, able to kill all sorts of Vanguard Skaven units. And if you want a Vanguard, against me, and you want to fight all 5 of these troops in one group, I'll give it to you. So besides that, the Ungor Raiders, they weren't really a factor this time. They were having a hard time getting their shots off. But you know, here in the front line, we had those chaff units that were able to get in there. They got engaged. They got killed. They allowed the best score herd here to get. You see, there it was about 300 kills almost across the best score herd, and those guys were you know, just chopping units to bit. Although those Gor herd that are in there just to soak things up and provide shields, they also got 40 kills across them. So you know, they're able to kill those chaff units. Even one group of Ungor spearmen got 42 kills. So I'm not sure if he got on some slaves. I don't think there were slaves. So maybe he was just killing clan rats. I think that was probably the group that was able to get around the side there and get into the back. So over for my opponent, you can see here he was able to get 47 kills with that Warlock Engineer. Imagine if he had Warp Lightning raining down upon me. It may have been a little bit different, although he was overwhelmed. Like I said, you know, this is a quick, crazy army. He was able to get a few kills here on the Storm Vermin, which were able to hold out, but almost everything else was just overwhelmed and routed off the field. So this was a great game. I've got another one coming right up for you guys. I don't want to make you guys watch all the loading screens and stuff, so I'm going to stitch it together. I hope you guys enjoy this, and we got another battle coming soon. And we're back here. We're loaded up with game 2. And you can see here we've brought the Beastmen again. And I am not going to bore you guys going through. It is literally the exact same army. I used this army. I got 8 wins in a row before I lost one. And when I finally did lose, I lost because I got Malgor targeted out. So this army is working pretty well for me. We've got it again. Just you know, the 3 Ungor Spearmen, the 3 Gor Herd with shields there in the front. This time I didn't get the chevrons into them. We've also got 2 Ungor Raiders, 4 Bestigor Herd, and we do have, you know, as we had before, we've got the nasty mobile units here. We've got 2 Chaos Poison Warhounds over here on this flank, and here hidden amongst the trees we have the Centaurs with great weapons. And I believe this time that I tossed the chevrons onto the Chaos Poison Warhounds, and I was hoping they would do a little bit of infantry killing. This is against Norsca, so I'm facing off on quick battles again. And this is another quick battle with that Beastmen army. They're nice and wide, plenty of units, and lots of Bestigors to soak in there. Over here on the right flank, you can see here we've got some Norsk and Ice Wolves for the for my opponent, and we've also got some armored skin wolves. So hidden in the forest, 2 groups of armored skin wolves, definitely very strong with that anti-large and frenzy. They've also got regeneration, so those guys will do really good if they come into contact with the Centaurs or something like that. He's also got here some Norsk and Ice Wolves, and you can see that they do not have anti-large. It's only the Regiment of Renown which has anti-large, but they are large units. So these guys are a little bit tricky to use, being large and not having anti-large. They're really good. You've got to be really careful against, you know, anti-large infantry units. Over here on the left flank, he does have another group of armored skin wolves, another group of Norsk and Ice Wolves. So those guys are just going to be in there just doing really good damage, trying to catch and drag down my mobile units. He does also here have in the forest Wolfric the Wanderer up on his steed there, and he's looking awesome. I love Wolfric. I love his skeleton, you know, on his back. I mean, that always cracks me up. He's got someone, like, you know, impaled on his back. But he has brought the Sword of Torgald. He's brought Hunter of Champions, Seafang, so he's ready. Wolfric is, you know, expensive, and he's ready to get in there and do some good work. Here in the front line, you can see we've got Marauders mixed in with Marauder Berserkers, and there's a ton of those Berserkers. So I will say the Berserkers have low defense, and so while they are very, very strong, they're able to get in there. 57 weapon strength. They've got Frenzy. They're, you know, really, really good. They're also, you know, they'll die quickly. So, you know, typically I like to have some Marauders or some Marauder Spearmen like this with a little bit higher defense. You can see these guys have 38 defense. If you mix them in there and use the Marauders kind of as a more, you know, mobile damage dealers, kind of glass cannon style, I feel like that'll help you out a little bit more. So either way, you can see it's another good infantry army arrayed against me. A lot of people have been bringing these wide infantry armies, and I mean, if you want to fight me with wide infantry, I'm ready. I'll fight you. It will be a hard time for anyone to take on all of these Bestigors, as well as all of this chaff units in front, as well as fighting this you know, cavalry over here on the mobile flank. Either way, now that I've bored you guys to tears with a second time explaining what's going on, we'll go ahead and get this game started. So right off the bat, you can see here we're going to start moving forward and just trying to get everything engaged. The main thing about this is just to be fast, to overwhelm your opponent, hit him before he knows what's going on, before he can figure out which your units are important. Make sure he's attacking Ungor Spearmen, he's trying to kill Ungor Raiders, which aren't expensive. He's not seeing that Malagor's maybe not Morgor or something. And while you're doing that, you're also trying to get in here and kill as many of these as you can. So like I said, those Norsk and Ice Wolves are not anti-large, and you can see there they're almost dead. So those, yeah, pretty much they're immediately taken off the field, and that is a big problem. So because they are large, they don't have anti-large. You can see here we're able to get out. We're not going to take hits from those Skin Wolves quite yet, and now we're going to go ahead and get a huge charge into them, as well as bring these Ungor Spearmen there right into the back. So you can see there just so much going on. I'll go ahead and slow it down for just a second. You can see here on this flank, we've got those Goreherd with shields, which are typically, you would think, are like the main, I mean, you know, for Norsk and Ice Wolf, they've got to be like the main thing you're supposed to kill with them, right? But definitely they're going to take some hits. You can see here the Goreherd are actually going to win this battle, no problem. And so I'm not always sure what those Norsk and Ice Wolves, I mean, they're really, I guess, only made to kill Chaos Warhounds. I'm not 100% positive. But you can see here these two groups of Armored Skin Wolves, they're kind of off on the side, and they're not going to be exactly where they need to be. Over here on the right flank, though, we as well are starting to bring these Chaos Poison Warhounds, but we have managed, you can see here, these Skin Wolves are wavering, and we've done some major damage to them. So we're just doing this overwhelming force. You can see here we've got tons of units here. We took out one group of Ice Wolves, and then we're going to bring them right over here along the back and just try to smash. Here in the main line, the Marauders are engaged with the Goreherds, and the Goreherds are actually going to win that engagement as well, I believe, just due to the little bit more defense they have. But, and you know, those Marauders, I mean, they should hold them up for at least a second. Here in the middle, you can see that everyone is engaged in the front line. They've taken those charges from those Marauder Berserkers, and the Marauder Berserkers have actually taken some damage, you can see there, due to their low defense. So now when these Bestigor Herd are going to get in here, you can see here, it is going to be just nasty. These Bestigor Herd, you can see we're taking some shots in there with the Ungor Raiders, and these Bestigor Herd are coming in here. They're following up after the Ungor Spearmen are leaving, and these Bestigor Herd are going to cut these Marauder Berserkers to pieces. You see here the Marauder Berserkers are coming down. There's a big big spell coming in there. You can see Fan coming in from Wolfric, but it is not going to be exactly what he's hoping for. That front line engagement is starting to come down heavily in my favor. Over here on the left flank, and this is something I want to point out. This is something I did in my last game with Dov. I was trying to point out. You see here, he's got 3 units, right, all engaged against one group of Goreherd. So it's very important when you're microing that you make sure not to end up in like one small front like this where you have so many units attacking, because none of these units are doing anything, and I'm just taking so much damage up, you know, right there, just that one group. Here comes up, there we go, right down the middle, coming down my Bestigor Herd. There's a big penumbral pendulum, but at this point, it is starting to domino effect again. We've taken this right flank, those Marauders are down. We've brought the Chaos Poison Warhounds down. They've hit those Marauder Spearmen, and now they're coming in. They've surrounded the Berserkers, and there is not much remaining. You can see those Marauder Berserkers are way low in health. Over here in the forest, you can see there another Vile Tide going down, giving a little bit of a charge bonus to these these charging units. And we actually did, I forgot, I brought the Cygor this time, folks. So this time I was able to summon that Cygor. You can see him here in the back, and that gave me actually a big boost in my balance of power, which is now starting to turn heavily in my favor. Here in the back, we've got some units back from route that we're going to use to come here into the Skin Wolves there, and we're going to use them to get surrounded. So now we've got the Goreherd with shields getting in there. They're going to drag those Skin Wolves down one at a time. You see here my big mobile units coming in there. The Skin Wolves getting smashed by the Cygor. Here in the back, everyone's starting to waver. All the Berserkers are dead. You see there that the Fimir Balefiend got surrounded and taken out. Malagor doing some major work, actually, surprisingly, in melee. Only Wolfric really remaining now that the Armored Skin Wolves are down, and that is all she wrote, folks. So you can see there that same again, that mobile army with just wide front, plenty of chaff to soak up the charge, and then a nice heavy mobile contingent to kind of domino the flank. Worked really well again, really quickly. And like I said, if you come in quick, you come in fast, you're able to overwhelm some of these very light unit armies. Norsca, even, I mean, you can even overwhelm, vampires. There's a lot of stuff you can do, as long as you don't expect like a heavy, range component, because you can definitely get Malagor sniped out by some hero killers. So if you take a look at here, I mean, just like last game, we soaked up the damage here with the front, got 40 on this Gore herd. A lot of kills here on the best Gore herd, and a number of kills on the mobile units as well. There was only 459 losses this time, and it was really pretty much spread out across all of the units. None of them gained a chevron, but at the same time, those berserkers went down really quickly. You can see they did get a bunch of kills, but it wasn't enough. I mean, we had 1,300 units, plenty of strength here, lots of armor piercing, lots of chaff. And, with the mobility, able to take out those ice wolves so quickly, we were able to take out one group of armored skin wolves right off the bat and just slowly domino effect one group at a time, slowly overwhelm and slowly destroy. So either way, I hope you guys enjoyed my my new Beastmen build. I hope you enjoyed having two of these videos linked together. Hopefully that's that's something good for you guys, as good as it is for me. We've got more Blood Bowl 2, more Total War Warhammer 2 coming at you soon. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Please subscribe below for more great online content. This is BlackIron, and this has been another one of BlackIron's Battles.